single batch of clay pots, a traditional artisan walks 16 kilometers to a riverbank, climbs down a sheer drop, and hauls heavy, wet clay uphill on her back. For all that backbreaking labor, the financial return is a few meager rupees. Despite this, young Santila desperately wants to learn the craft, but her mother, Erin Law, explicitly refuses to teach her, having lived through the exhaustion. Erin Law points her daughter toward a much more logical path: weaving. It happens indoors, it's far less messy, and it brings in a handsome financial reward. When physical exertion costs so much energy and pays so little, abandoning it for a better, more comfortable life makes perfect sense. A traditional artisan like Erin Law spends months pounding, shaping, and drying a single batch of pots. This chart compares the traditional method against modern industrialization. On the left, an artisan spends 30 days producing a small batch of goods. On the right, a factory machine stamps out thousands of identical products in a single hour. Manual pot making is a skill-based vocation, a type of work relying entirely on specialized, practiced human knowledge rather than automation. If a machine can produce the same item faster and cheaper, we have to ask what value a slow, manual vocation actually retains. From a purely economic perspective, maintaining these traditional crafts appears entirely illogical. Santilla ignores the economics. She skips her chores and sneaks away to the village worksheds, drawn to the rhythm of the master potters. She watches them perform the intense, tedious work of pounding stubborn clay inside bamboo cylinders until it softens. She studies how they push their hands into the wet lump, rotating the clay with smooth, highly practiced precision. With a wooden spatula, they shape the spinning walls. To Santilla, the rhythmic tap, tap, tap of wood against clay is music. This specific tactile interaction requires a delicate, responsive human touch. A stamped, factory-made pot lacks the physical memory of the hands that shaped it. Santila's secret visits quickly become village gossip, prompting the local council of elders to summon her father to answer for Arenla's refusal to teach her. The elders issue a firm ruling. Arenla has an absolute duty to pass her skills on to her daughter. They enforce a different set of rules. In this community, traditional skills do not belong to the individual who masters them. The craft represents collective survival. The identical pots carried by these figures highlight how the skill symbolizes the shared history and tradition of the group. The elders mandate that any master is obligated to teach anyone willing to learn, ensuring the generational knowledge survives. When these skills disappear, the community loses the physical symbols of their history. The craft is the thread connecting the present generation to the ancestors who developed it. Santila's initial attempts are clumsy, her hands are too tense, and the clay flatly refuses to yield to her desired shape. When her mother turns away, another expert steps in. She guides Santila's hands, teaching her the patience and confidence required to form a perfect curve. The mentorship is cut short when Erenla suddenly passes away. As the village carries her mother's body out the next morning, Santila follows behind, crying out that it simply came to her and asking for her mother's forgiveness. Passing the workshed on her way back, Onila stops in her tracks. Resting on the ground outside are two neat batches of still moist clay pots. Santila has matched her mother's precise, symmetrical skill in every detail. Out of tragedy, the generational chain remains intact. A new pot maker is born. When you encounter traditional handmade crafts in the modern world, you are looking at the result of this same silent dedication. Against the massive odds of global industrialization, regional practices like Korja pottery in Uttar Pradesh, terracotta in West Bengal, and Longpi black pottery in Manipur still survive today. Comparing these pieces to machine-made goods based entirely on their price tag or uniform perfection misses the point of their existence. Purchasing or appreciating a handmade craft preserves an unbroken chain of